ओम श्री विश्वनाथाय नमः। ओम श्री शंकराचार्याय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरु शिवानंदाय नमः। सर्वमंगलमांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। शरणागतदीनार्थपरित्राणपरायणे सर्वस्यार्थिहरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। जगद्धात्री राजराजेश्वरी भवतारिणी मा भवानी। जगदम्ब 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 जय जगदम्ब जय तुलजा। ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी पाहि माम्। ईश्वरी
माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी पाहि माम्।
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी पाहि माम्।
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी पाहि माम्।
राजेश्वरी मातेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी रक्ष 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 माम्।
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी नमः।
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी नमः।
राजेश्वरी मातेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी शरणमो।
राजेश्वरी मातेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी शरणमो।
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी नमः।
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी नमः।
राजेश्वरी मातेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी शरणमो।
राजेश्वरी मातेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी शरणमो।
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी पाहि माम्।
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी पाहि माम्।
राजेश्वरी मातेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी रक्ष माम्।
राजेश्वरी मातेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी रक्ष माम्।
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी नमः। ओम
ईश्वरी माहेश्वरी परमेश्वरी नमः।
राजेश्वरी मातेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी शरणमो।
राजेश्वरी मातेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी शरणमो।
पराशक्ति महारानी की जय। Worshipful homage to that supreme, all-transcending, absolute, non-dual, cosmic spirit divine. Homage to that being who is beyond all concepts of the ultimate reality, beyond all concepts of the creator, preserver, and destroyer, beyond all concepts of God as envisaged in the different living religions of the world today, who is beyond the Jehovah of the Jews, the Ahura Mazda of the Zoroastrians, the supreme Tao of the Taoists of China, and the concept of the ultimate being in the Shinto religion of the Japanese, who is beyond the Almighty Father in heaven to whom Jesus Christ prayed, who is beyond Allah, the name by which Muhammad Nabi, the founder of Islam, addressed the Supreme Being, Creator, Preserver, Destroyer, Upholder of all things. To that Supreme Spirit that transcends all concepts of God by all the different living religions in the world today, our worshipful homage. May that being's grace be upon all. Loving adorations to Revered and Beloved Holy Master Gurudev Sri Swami Shivananda Maharaj. Who, among other important teachings, taught us also unity of all religions, the essential unity of all religions, in spite of the outer differences. In spite of the outer differences in ceremonials, rituals, the architectural structure of the place of worship, and the apparel worn by the priests who led the other lay people, flock belonging to the religion. All these may be different, but nonetheless they cannot affect the underlying essential oneness in all religions. They all declare the omnipresence, omnipotent, omniscience of the Supreme Being, the all perfection of the Supreme Being. So he called it the essential unity of all religions. And therefore he said, it is foolish to fight and quarrel about these unimportant, superficial differences. It is futile. One should live in harmony. One should focus upon the essential unity, inner unity, and live in harmony with mutual tolerance, the spirit of brotherhood. But a great need of the hour. This message of unity, harmony, brotherhood, tolerance is, in the context of today's world, to this prophet of unity, beloved Holy Master Gurudev Swami Shivananda, we bow down with reverence. Radiant immortal Atman, beloved and blessed children of light, sadhaks and seekers, devotees of God, spiritual aspirants leading the spiritual life, aspiring to attain the supreme goal, illumination or enlightenment, Brahmajnana. It bestows upon you eternal life, immortality, freedom, ultimate freedom from all bondage, and the supreme state of bliss and peace, Shanti and Ananda. We have been considering the spiritual teachings and dharmic teachings of Sant Samartha Swami Ramdas, the spiritual guru of the Maharashtrian Emperor Shivaji. Teachings of Ramdas as expounded by a little book titled Manache Shlok, verses addressed to the mind. And today we consider the verses 81, 82 and 83. '78, '79, '80, we considered yesterday. '81, '82, '83 is the portion we are looking into today. In '81, Samartha Swami Ramdas has a significant thing to say. When man is too conscious of one's inner defects and impurities and shortcomings, one tends to get into a state of depression and say, no good. I am unfit for spiritual life. It is better that I may opt for something lesser. Instead of trying to catch the rainbow. So he lowers his ideals due to his acute awareness of his unworthiness and misses his golden opportunity of the human status. Swami Ramdas says, even if your mind is polluted and impure due to undivine factors in it, you should not therefore abandon the name of God and spiritual life. In spite of that, carry on with total faith, great reverence in the all-powerful nature of the divine name, which due to this all-powerful nature is capable of destroying your impurities, making you pure, then making you worthy of spiritual life, then blessing you with the highest spiritual experience, God realization and liberation. It will do everything for you. So, it will remove your disqualification. It will bestow upon you all the right qualifications. Then it will help you to move forward and Godward towards your goal. So do not worry. So the awareness of drawbacks and shortcomings should not deter you from determinedly plunging into spiritual life. Because there is nothing so great as the divine name. It is unparalleled, non-paralleled, unparalleled. In the whole world, in whole Brahma's creation, there is nothing to compare to it. Such is the unique greatness of the divine name. Doubt not, fear not, therefore hesitate not to take the spiritual life. Everything will be done for you by the great power of the incomparable divine name of Lord Rama. And in the next verse, he says, there are various names of God. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Shri Sharanabhavaya Namaha. Om Shri Hanumate Namaha. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Many names are there. But even among all these various names of God, the name Rama reigns supreme. I tell you this, it reigns supreme. Why? Because when during the churning of the ocean, according to Hindu mythology and the scriptures, there was what is called a Samudra Manthan. When during the churning of the ocean, many things came towards the end, the terrible, all-destroying Kalakuta Visha came. terrible, all-destroying Kalakuta. People who are sitting with their back bent are requested to sit with their back straight. Speaker also must sit with his back straight, and the listener also must sit with his back straight. So this, the asana is something where the spinal column should not be bent back. It is not our subject now. Otherwise, Swami Vivekananda has explained why it is so. Swami Vivekananda has explained why one should not sit with a caved-in front like that. And he said he was taking a class. He told the students why it is. And he said, now, to prove my statement, you yourself test yourself. Sit like this and see the state of your mind. Sit like this, see the state of your mind. They were able to find out that if they sat like that, their mind expanded and high thoughts came. They sat like that, mind was down. It could not entertain any high, ennobling, elevating, lofty, noble, sublime thoughts. It could not come. They said, yes. Master, what you are saying is right. This is a digression, but it is a worthwhile digression. He says, among all the names, Rama's name is unique. It reigns supreme. Because when the ocean was churned and the deadly Kalakuta poison came, it started to consume everyone. Everyone was about to go into a faint, and then through the faint, coma, death. And so, both the celestials as well as the demons, asuras, devas became upset and terrified. And they looked about here and there, cast about, what to do now, how to save. Then the only thought, Lord Shiva, he can save us. He is capable of doing anything. He is God of gods. So they have to do something, do something. What to do? The poison has to be contained somehow. Poison has to be absorbed in some one location so that all will be saved. So without hesitating, what will happen to me? Lord Shiva attracted the poison towards himself and consumed the entire poison. Parvati was horrified. And she said, if it goes into him, God knows what will happen. So she immediately sprang up and ran towards him and held him by the throat. She did not allow the poison to descend down below the throat or gullet. So the poison stopped here. And therefore, the throat of Lord Shiva, he is very, very fair and white colored, like the color of camphor. Shiva is a very fair god. His entire body, from head to foot, is beautiful, shining white. He is not swarthy or dark or blue or any other color, white. But his entire throat is deep blue. So he is called Nilakantha. Kantha means throat. Nila means blue. He is a blue-throated Shiva because the Kalakuta poison stopped him. So, Parvati was the one who was instrumental in giving him this name. So you all know that there is a temple high up 7 miles beyond Swargashram hills, and it's called Nilkanta Mahadev. Nilkanta Mahadev. The body of Vishnu is sky blue. His incarnation's body is sky blue. Lord Krishna was sky blue. Lord Rama sky blue. See? Kali dark, very black. Mother Kali. But Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujina. Karpura Gauram. He is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of Nadia, Navadvip. He was very fair. Of course, he was a very beautiful, very handsome young man, very fair. Therefore, they used to refer to him as Gauranga, Gauranga, Gaurahari, Gauranga. Anga means body, Gaura means fair, white. He was called Gauranga, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Shankara Bhagavan became Nilakanta due to absorbing the Kalakuta Visha, and which Parvati stopped. And nevertheless is fiery and burning. To counteract any harmful effect of this poison in his throat, it is said, Lord Shiva uttered the name of Rama. And when he uttered the name of Rama, everything became cool. All the burning vanished. And the harmful effect of the poison was nullified, counteracted. Rama became an antidote for the poison in the case of Shiva. There could be no calamity or catastrophe than taking into oneself the worst type of poison one can imagine in this world. They call it hala hala or kalakuta. Very, very virulent poison. If Ram was powerful enough to counteract and nullify and put an end to such a great calamity and catastrophe, what can it not do to human beings? No human being is ever going to get into such a great calamity or such a great catastrophe, such a great terrible danger as Lord Shiva. Compared to what he had to face and undergo, our little troubles are nothing. They are petty nothing. Chicken feed. Therefore, O mind, take to this Ram Nam. Man, it will help you to overcome everything. Even the greatest calamity will vanish, as though it is nothing. Because to Ram Nam it is nothing. Then he goes on to say, this great destroyer of Cupid, Lord Shiva, Manmatari, Kamari, is constantly meditating on Ram. In the third verse, he says, look here, O man, I will tell you the glory of Ram Nam. Lord Shankara Bhagavan, the God of gods, is always engaged in constantly meditating on Sri Ram. And when he is not meditating, when he is out of the meditation, he is constantly engaged in explaining to Parvati the greatness of Lord's name, the greatness of Ram Nam, the wonder Ram Nam can achieve. He is ever busy engaged in explaining and expounding the glories of Ram Nam, the greatness of Ram Nam. So he has only got two occupations, either meditating on Ram Nam or when he is not meditating, explaining to Parvati the greatness, the glory, the grandeur, the uniqueness of Ram Nam. Such is Ram Nam. Shankara Bhagavan is endowed with great jnana. Jnaninam agraganyaha. He is endowed with great jnana. He is endowed with very great vairagya. He wants nothing, he possesses nothing, he keeps nothing around him. He sits with the ash all over the body in the cremation ground, clad only in a tiger skin, clad only in the deer skin. No elephant skin. Sitting on a tiger skin, clad in an elephant skin. And among hobgoblins and all sorts of terrible things that usually one expects to reign in a cremation ground. In the cremation ground, under a tree, serenely unmindful of his surroundings, he is absorbed in meditation. Great jnana, great vairagya, great power he has. He is a yogi, super yogi. But nevertheless, even possessing so much great divine wisdom and vairagya, already possessing all powers, yet he takes delight in cherishing in his heart great faith and trust in the omnipotence of Sri Ram Nam, the unparalleled divinity of Sri Ram Nam, and prefers to keep uttering Ram Nam, even though he has got all that it needs to make a divine yogi, all perfect yogi, past master of yoga. Such is the uniqueness of Ram Nam, such is the greatness of Ram Nam. With this sharing, Sant Swami Samartha Ramdas concludes his teaching of today from his verses addressed to the mind, Manate Shlok. And to the grace of the Supreme and the blessings of Holy Master Swami Shivananda, we have been able to consider these three verses and obtain much inspiration from them. And it has been my unique privilege. I am thrice blessed that I have been the channel and the medium for conveying these deep, profound truths regarding Ram Nam through Manate Shlok to all of you here and from this seat. And therefore I thank the Supreme and thank Gurudev and thank all of you for having enabled me to do this little service and sharing today by your divine presence here, by your attentive hearing, and by your very graciously receiving of what has been shared in a spirit of service from this seat. Thus, Hari Om Tat Sat. Om